Hello, everyone. Welcome. And today is Monday, February 12th, 2024. I am Salibu's sister, and this is My Turn to Talk. And I hope everyone's having a great day. It is a good day. It's actually sunny here in cool, sunny California. But I hope everyone's having a great day. Hey, Brina. Frankie, how are you, girl? Hey, Blunt, welcome back. Hey, Lou, welcome. I hope all of you guys had a great weekend. And as always, whatever platform you are streaming, wherever you're listening, be it live or the replay, thank you very much. Always appreciate it. I don't know if you're the only one that loves Mondays. Oh, Lou. If I wake up, I love every day. If I'm waking up the next day, no matter what day it is, I love that day. So Mondays, Fridays, whatever, I love them all. It does. I think it probably does set the tone for the week. Okay, so let's get started. Okay, tipping. Is it really fair? And why don't eating establishments pay minimum wage? Okay, I know there's some of you here who have worked in the food industry, and I have to say, I am someone who does not believe in tipping. Do I tip? Yes, but I have been reading, especially in the last week, a lot of things about tipping. And I think tipping in America has gotten out of control. I don't think when I, go to up to a cashier, the tip jar is at the cash register. I mean, am I supposed to tip you because like somebody said, because you punched in my order? It has gotten to the point where I think tipping has gotten, and Blunt's right, tipping has gotten crazy. I think it's gotten crazy to the point where it's actually hurting people who would normally get a tip, because that's what's happened to me. I'm so soured on every time I turn around, somebody's saying tip, that I don't even want to tip when I go out. At the same time, I do believe that these establishments should pay at least minimum wage, to so you don't have to rely on tips. And Brina says, yeah, these cashiers have it right there on the screen when you pay. I'm like, what did you do special for me? And is it the fact that someone's doing something special for you, or are you doing your job? Now, I can see if you, okay, let's put it like this. let's say you have a party of two, and that party of two just is demanding, they're insufferable, they're rude, they want this, they want that. You're running back and forth, you're running back and forth. Do I believe you should tip those people? Yes. Do I believe they should expect a tip? Yes. Now, let's say you have a party of 12. These people, only thing they've asked that you do is you take their order, you bring their food. They don't ask, you may come by and say, how's everything going? They're like, fine. But basically, they're minding their own business. They're just talking amongst themselves. They're not rude or anything. They're not high maintenance. Um, they're ready to pay their bill and they leave. Should they have to pay more because their party was bigger? And you do see on some of these where it says a gratuity of so and so will automatically be added, if a party exceeds a certain limit. So, but what did you do for that party except bring them their food? And if that party of 12 was split up into, into smaller parties, would you still expect, you still would have waited on the same amount of people, but this party was not high maintenance. You didn't do anything special for them except bring them their food. Okay, Blunt says, if I pick up my food from a restaurant, I'm not served at a table, I'm not tipping. I agree. And Brina says, I don't like when gratuity is automatically added. No, because, don't tell me how much I should tip. And I do believe that it's gotten to the point, like I said, where people just don't want to tip. And it seems like tipping is mostly an American thing. If you go overseas or something, they don't expect tips. Some places don't even allow you to tip. So and some people say that the way the way technology is done today, that it automatically has the tip in there. When I go out and if I'm, selling things, and if I'm not doing it online, if I actually go out and, selling face to face, I have to adjust my my charge. My charge things, my terminal, where it doesn't say tip because it automatically says tip. And I have to take that off. Hey, Mr. B, welcome. So everything seems to be where you either have a tip jar or they bring your bill to pay and the tip is already there. You can choose the percentage sometimes, but no. And I just have gotten to the point where I don't care where I am. I don't believe I should tip. But yet if you get on an airplane, flight attendants are not supposed to accept tips. They cannot accept tips unless you do it underhand. They can get in trouble for accepting a tip. And when you look at some flight attendants, I think they work a lot harder and put up with more BS than someone who is a waiter. Hey, Shorty, welcome. Now, I have this question to throw at you. And Lou says, as a mechanic, I was never allowed to accept tips. Okay, so how come you can't tip your mechanic? Unless you do things on the down low. So let me ask this. I think we should be able to bring says, I think we should be able to tip bad boys at the food store. Supposedly they can't accept tips either. But yet there's it just doesn't make any sense. Do I think that if you go to Starbucks or someplace, you should have put a tip in the tip jar? No, I came in there to get a latte or whatever it is that people, I don't go to Starbucks, so whatever it is that people are ordering, but that's what your job is. You are a person who was hired there to do that job. Why am I tipping you? Yes, it is. Hey, Angel Bear, welcome. So this is my question. With all of this, the tipping culture, I think that when you go to self checkout, and I may be getting this, turning this into a whole different show right now, but when you go to self checkout, which I don't like, um, they should take like 10% off of your bill because you're using self checkout because you're doing their job. You have all these employees standing around self checkout to make sure that you're not stealing or to make sure supposedly you have a great customer experience and that the prices are being registered correctly. But as we know, Walmart, you have to really double check your receipts when you leave that store, and Target. Um, that's what they say. So since I'm doing your job, since I'm putting things into a bag, and now most places you have to pay for a bag. So I'm coming into the store. I have to check out my own things. I have to pay for a bag. And then if I bring my own bags, depending upon the store, if it's Walmart, you're putting things in the bag yourself, even if you do go to a cashier. So are they going to start asking you to tip at the self service? I mean, it just doesn't make any sense to me. Hey, Shorty,
Hey, Solid. Hey, everybody. How y'all doing?
I am good. But now I got myself all worked up over tipping and self checkout. Anyway,
I figured you was. I heard the voice change. You was getting a little worked up. I'm like,
so what do you think, Shorty?
mm. When I seen your topic, I was like, oh Lord. Like, some people do deserve a tip, some don't. You know what I mean? Like with that self checkout thing, like yeah, you doing your own bagging and stuff like that. You right. We should get a discount of cause we doing it ourselves. But when you go in that regular line, um, sometimes they put it in they put the stuff in there when you do the regular line, but sometimes when I was in stores in Walmart, I see somebody, tip the cashier. I'm like looking at them like they ain't really do nothing. They just scanning your stuff and putting it in the bag and you put it in your own cart. That's not like when Dixie or Publix, they got the baggers there. You know what I mean? Sometimes you have to bag your own stuff over there if they don't got nobody. Now see.
Okay, so Shorty, let me ask this: if you're at the market and you have all these bags or whatever, and you have your cart, and the bagger says, "Do you need help to your car?" and you say yes,
Mhm. Mhm.
is that a tip worthy gesture? Is that something you should tip?
To be honest with you, don't be mad at me,
I'm not. I
y'all.
know. I mean, I'm not. If that's what
Um,
you want to do, that's what you want to do.
that's up to them if you want to tip them. You understand? Some people don't tip. Some people be like, "Nah, I don't need the help," and they'll be getting mad because that's how they get their tips. You know what I mean? Some
But
people
okay,
don't
so
even
so
want
if
tips.
I ask you
Me,
if you
on the other hand, I'll be like, "Nah, I'm good."
okay, but if someone did help you out to your car, do you think you're obligated to tip them because they asked if you
No,
need? Okay, all right, so
no,
okay,
because that's on them. Nobody will tell you to come on and help me, baby. No, nobody. You volunteered to do that by yourself.
hey GP, welcome. All right,
What's
so
up, GP?
okay, so you're at the hotel. You have all these
Mm-hmm.
bags, okay,
Mm-hmm.
that you managed to drag into the hotel by yourself, and you check in, and they call someone over to take your bags up, and you say no, just let me grab a cart and I can take them up myself. Do you think that that's a slap in the face
What's up,
to
Fair?
the bag guy or whoever? I don't know what you call them, the people who take your your
The
bags up.
bellboys.
Right,
The
right,
bellboys.
right. So is that I mean, like, was he like seeing all these bags like, okay, I'm gonna get a good tip out of that? You're like, nope,
Mm-hmm.
nope, I
That's what
just
they was expecting. That's what they was expecting. Like, ooh, cause they be rushing to get them
hey
people.
fair use. So okay,
They be
so
rushing to get them people.
Okay,
It to
so
them it's like a slap in the face. To them, it's like a slap in the face. But to yourself, you be like, because you already know, like, oh, he want to help me to take it upstairs. What do I can do all this and then take it to the room? And all they'll do, they'll sit there and wait at the door or wait in there. Look, I'm like, that's all you can go. And then they'll sit there. You know how you bring your little money, your hand and rub it together like a little money thing. They'll sit up there. They'll be
okay,
like, you need something to drink or something? And they'll be like,
okay.
And you gonna tip? No, get out. Then that's when they start talking junk and go back to the other bell people. Oh, that room 2202 on tip, and I just carried all the heavy ass bags up there. Nobody tell you to come and ask me to help. No, I
Okay,
can do this myself.
okay. So and GB says, depending upon how many bags, and Brina said in terms of the bag boys, if they bring it out to your car, I think that's
Mm,
nice and they deserve it. But she says not mandatory. She says not mandatory. Okay.
right.
Okay. And Blunt says when we were in Vegas, everyone wanted a tip. It's like you can't go 5 steps sometimes depending upon where you are without having to tip people. And if you're someone like me, I don't carry cash, which
That's
I
the problem right there.
and
See?
and which I probably should, just in terms of an emergency or something, but I don't carry
Mm-hmm.
cash, so I'm not looking
Right.
to tip people. So I'm talking about, when I say tip people, I'm talking about tipping you like out, when you're out and about. So so if you're in Vegas, the waiter comes over
Oh
to
Lord.
take your drink order, whatever, whether you order alcohol or whether you order soda, whatever. They come back with your order. Do you have to tip
Mm-hmm.
them? I mean, isn't their job to come over to ask you if you want
Yes.
something to drink? And I mean, what's the difference
Yes.
from them coming over to you as opposed to you, going to the bar or whatever? But that's their job. So why
That's
should
their
I
job.
tip you?
That's the waiter. That's a whole part of being a waiter. You supposed to go over there and be like, what you want me to start off with? What type of drink you want to start off with? Write it down or whatever, and bring it back. You know what I mean? Some people have hard days. You know what I mean? Sometimes they don't want to go to work, but you don't necessarily have to tip them.
Okay,
You
so
don't.
okay, so
But
Blunt.
if you want to do it out of courtesy, you can.
I'm not sure what that shit is for. What? I think he's talking about to Blunt. Okay, I know we argue about tipping. I tip too much. Okay, tip everyone at the strip club. I'm not saying a word. I just want a tax write off if I help supplement someone's income. I mean, and that's another thing too. If you're tipping, and Fair brings up a good point, can I keep track of all the tipping that I did, so at the end of the year that I can
You
write that
should.
off?
You should. If you save your receipt, because they give it to you, they give you a receipt. You know what I mean? Whoever you tip, you might as well write that down or save your receipts and be like, look, you know how many restaurants and how many people I done tip? Add this up on my taxes and see how much that adds up on that.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah,
What's up, boo? How you doing?
yeah. Hey,
You
hey,
don't
crazy,
necessarily have
welcome,
to.
Juju, welcome. I mean,
Hi, Juju.
I'm sorry. It's just that just for me, the tipping culture has just gotten so out of control that that it just makes you that certain places are hurting other places in terms of tipping.
Of course, because that's what they expect. They always expect the tip. Cause sometimes you know how rich people is. They got that money, but here you go, $200 tip, pow pow pow. Here you go, $300 tip, pow pow pow. You know what I mean? But then when you for us folk, us poor people, we can only give you like a $2 tip, 250 tip, a $5 tip. Most of the minimum is a $10 tip. If you get lucky to get that, or 20, and then they be like, you cheap motherfucker. You know what I mean?
All right, so okay, so let me ask this. Who's doing 300?
Rich
You
people,
crazy?
rich people
Okay,
who got
so
money to blow.
okay, let me ask this, Shorty. I'm gonna ask you to mute
Go
for a
ahead.
moment.
Yeah.
All right, so all right, so um, when you're on the train, Okay, when you are on the train, and if you're in a sleeper, the 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 guideline is that you tip your attendant $10 per day. Um, so if you're on the train 2 or 3 nights, that's $30. And if you go to eat in the dining car, you tip $5 per meal. Um, do you think that's excessive? And do you think people like Amtrak that they should rely on tips? Or do you think, I mean, because they basically, I mean, they're, they're on the train, they're getting up at, whenever people call or whatever, they're pretty much at your beck and call. Do you think people like that should get a tip, or should they just have their salary should be raised?
They salary should be raised, because who gonna sit up there and tip you every time you at a beck and call? You said tip them how much? $10 every day?
$10 per day if you're in,
Uh-huh.
if you're in a sleeper, because they do come, and just so you know, they come, they make up your bed, they make up your bed every morning, they make sure you have your fresh sheets and stuff every night, they prepare your bed, they make sure that your bathroom's clean, stuff like that. I mean, they do all that. I guess you can say the same thing that a housekeeper does. So
I might
should
as well
you
do that myself.
so
Like
should
crazy
you
say, I
tip
do it
them?
myself. No,
Okay.
no,
All right.
I can do that myself. Cause see, that's what they expect for people. You know what I mean? That's a lot of money. And then how much you gotta tip them when you go eat? $5.
That is the guideline. That is the guideline.
Oh Lord, solid no.
I mean, I'm just okay. All right. So let's say you're at the hotel. You have you're this you're the traveler who always leaves the place really nice. I mean, for me, when I travel and I'm in a hotel, anything that I have, dirty towels or whatever, I wrap them up in one towel and I leave them by the door, so the hotel, well, mainly so the housekeeper doesn't have to go in, and I'm trying to make it easier for her, which I have been told that they appreciate that. um but let's say you're that person who you go into the hotel and you're just that nice guest and you don't you don't mess up anything, but then you have that one party that had that wild party on New Year's Eve. Everything's torn up, and everything's a wreck, and the housekeeper has to come in and do this and this and this. Do they deserve a tip? Just tip, just to tip this. My little sorry, will stay quiet. Oh, Lou, I got a guideline from them. Crazy, crazy. But what if they don't want that, GP? And Crazy says, I'll pay 15 for the whole trip. Okay, so Crazy, 15 for the whole trip. So you're saying if you're on you're saying, I'm assuming you're talking about the train. So if you're on the train for 3 days, you're saying 15 for the whole trip, or if you're on the train for 2 days, if you're on it for one, I mean, here she comes. Here she comes. Here she comes. Hey, Crazy.
What's going on?
Oh boy, I guess I'm trying to piss some people off.
I saw that this morning and I was like, boy, you're trying to make people mad today. Okay. Mad on a Monday. Look, I'm going to be honest with you. I rode the train a lot. Not, it's been a long time, but back when I rode it a lot, we didn't have to tip nothing. They didn't give you a guideline. They didn't tell you nothing. I used to use those. I got sleeper cars sometimes. Sometimes I got those little just the seats that fold down into this little weird dish sleeper thing, and then
You're talking about roomette.
yeah, there you go. And then
Roomette.
sometimes I would I would usually book the below coach where all the disability people are, because it never was full and the seats were hella far from each other and it had plugins. But anyways, I never had to tip any of them. Now, granted, if I went to the bar, right, to the bar car, I would give them a little something. But I'm gonna be honest, if I got a shot for $5, I'm probably gonna give you $1. I'm not gonna give you a 5. You know what I'm saying?
So let me ask this: why does the bartender deserve the tip? Or I'm not going to say deserve, but why would you give them the tip as opposed to giving your attendant the tip?
Well, wasn't technically finished, but I go to the bar, I give them $1, right? Because I have a $5 drink. If I go to the food car, I've already paid. If depending on what your package is, you might have already paid for it. Like most of the time, I already paid for it.
Right.
If I've already paid for it and I'm sitting down and it is a restaurant style, because they used to, I don't know if they do that anymore. They used to come bring the shit to your table and everything. I would leave a tip because I'm not paying anything. It's already in my thing, and I'm kind of like, all right, well, they brought me my little stuff or whatever, but I'm not going to leave $5 every time I go there. And I'm not giving the people that come into my room $10 a day. Because when I did sleep in the sleeper car, when we went from LA to Chicago, it was 3 days. And I don't know about then, but you said they come and do all that. They didn't come and do none of that shit. They brought us I remember talking to they did send someone in to clean the bathrooms at some point. Like there was like, oh, leave your whatever for 10 minutes. We're coming through. Like they came through in one fall swoop. They came through and boom, and they left, and they don't even interact with you. So it's not like I could hand them a tip. They came in, they would do it, and they were out. They wanted us out of the way. They didn't even want us in there. And then like we had a person that did, would knock and kind of walk up and down those corridors or whatever. They never stayed or asked or like waited or nothing for a tip. I almost feel like, to be real with you, a lot of them really liked their job enough that they didn't, like, it wasn't something that they were like, oh, well, I did this because I have to. They actually liked doing it. So they didn't, but if they did something personal, and I mean personal, that wasn't part of their job, then that's different for me. Like I believe that tipping is based on service. I don't believe in this added gratuity shit and it's all this other stuff unless it's a giant party and they're, because giant parties sometimes don't always tip well. Okay, I can understand that. But but yeah, if I had somebody in that car that was like extra attentive, I might give them a 5 or something, but I'm not giving you $10 a day.
Okay.
I'm not doing that.
Okay. So crazy. Okay. You weren't here when I said, you're at the restaurant, you have 2 people at a table who are just extremely rude, high maintenance, needy, whatever. As opposed to a party of 12 who you just come and take their order. They're, they don't ask for anything. They're minding their own business. They get up and they leave and, is not a big deal, whatever. Who do you deserve? Who should tip? Because to me, the party of 12, your job is to bring them their food. So and I was also saying, you take that party of 12 and you were to divvy it up, by 3 or by 2, you're still serving the same amount of food to the same people. But that party of 2 who is so rude and nasty and high maintenance, whatever, to me, they're the ones who should tip as opposed to the party of 12.
Well, you're not going to like my answer. Probably some people won't, but tipping is optional regardless.
It is.
All right. So this is how I feel about it. How do I say this without offending a lot of people? You chose that job. You knew what that job was going to entail. So you're going to take that with all the rest of the shit that you take. Does that make sense? Like you have to take on the bad shit with the good shit, with all the other stuff. You knew going into that job that tipping was optional. That's what always gets me about when they get mad about this shit. I'm like, hey, I don't care how the guest acted. I don't care how big the party is, small is, it's optional. I don't even agree technically to adding it to big bills because like you said, the 12 people table probably was easier to manage than these rowdies over here or whatever. But yet you charge them a fee because they were a large table. But these guys over here caused all messes and was pissing all or making all your people mad around it, made people leave, all this other stuff. They didn't get charged anything. That's the one reason that I don't agree with the automatic gratuity crap. You know what I'm saying? Because if a restaurant can add automatic gratuity, why can't they pull that automatic gratuity out of their own pocket and give it to their
No, you're
staff?
right. No, and I agree with that 100%. Now, GP brings up one thing. If you have valet service, they're going to get your car, whatever. They maybe stand outside when it's cold and whatever. Should you have to tip them, or should the management do it? Should the management pay them for standing out in the cold or hot or whatever? Should they have to pay for it? Because I think these establishments need to step up and pay their people more money instead of people always looking at you to say
Yep.
tip.
They do, and they should. And that's my overall answer is the establishment should have to offer a living wage. And then if you want to tip people for being good service, that should be completely 100% optional. There are countries you can't tip.
Yep.
It is against the law
Yep.
to tip over there.
Yep. So
that's how I feel about it.
I mean, okay. And do you think that and there are some restaurants that do this? If you come in with a large party, especially if you have kids and you have a lot of kids, whatever, or even if you just have one or two. Some restaurants want to charge you extra.
No.
Because they're saying, well, it takes more to deal with kids, but you can have some kids where some kids are just as nice, good little angels, and they're sitting there while it's the adults who are making all.
That's right.
So.
Nope, that's wrong. That's wrong. You're discriminating against people with children. That's discrimination. I mean, on the level. I mean, I'm saying not hardcore, but I'm just saying you're you're prejudging people, and they haven't even sat down at your establishment yet. Because you're saying that, it takes more and kids are this or kids are that. How do you know? That might be the family that goes in there and cleans up after themselves. You know what I'm saying? Cleans up after their kids, stacks all the dishes up on things, put the napkin on top instead of in between the plates type of people. But you're charging them already because they walked in and they're just because they're big or they have a big family and you've experienced it before. What if we all did that? What if we all based our current experiences on everything we had in the past and how that went? Just imagine. I'm just saying, like you're a restaurant the industry makes enough money to pay their people a living wage.
Yeah, they do.
They don't want to because they know that if you don't tip, people are going to try to shame you. I'm going to tell you something. You can't shame me into tipping. You can't. And I'm one of those people that I start off with a certain amount of tip. And as depends on how irked I get with service and the restaurant and whatnot, I start taking the shit away. I start subtracting. I like to give people incentives for good service. Like I anytime I order something and I know I don't have to drive anywhere, I'm gonna give them a tip because I don't have to go anywhere. I'm sitting in my home. I don't have to do shit. If I call them out in a pouring ass rain, I'll probably give them a little more. You know why? Because that's how I feel they should be treated, not how the world feels. So I don't know. I personally think the tip thing should be completely optional, and I don't believe anybody should be shamed if they don't tip. And then that whole shit of if you don't have enough money to tip, you shouldn't go out to eat. First of all, you're not going to tell me what to do with my money. All right. If I want to go out.
So do you think that places like McDonald's or Burger King or some of these fast food places, should they put tip jars out?
Hell no.
Y'all said that too.
Hell no.
No, I mean, I'm just saying, because if you go to if you go to some of these places like Applebee's or someplace where you go in to pick up your food, and they have the tip jar there. So I'm just saying, so you're going through to the drive-through, should there be a tip jar?
I wish they would. I'll take it and leave.
No.
I'm gonna take it and drive off. They put let a tip jar be in McDonald's or any kind of drive-through. I'm taking that shit. I'm gonna take it to a homeless person.
Hey, Power Girl and Daddy Hoff, welcome.
Hi, Power Girl. Hey, Daddy Hoff.
I'm going to give it to a homeless person because I'm sorry, McDonald's definitely, of all the things that you mentioned in your life, McDonald's asking for tips is outrageous.
I mean, but
But you know
every
what?
restaurant to me, I'm sorry, Shorty, hold on one second. I mean, every restaurant to me, like you said, the industry, these people have money too.
Right.
Even if you're a little ma and pop, whatever. I mean, it's like you all have money to pay these people a living wage. Don't shame me because, or talk
That's
about
right.
me, or put me on TikTok because I
Right.
did not tip you, even if it is a party of 12, 15, 20, whatever. You know, they're coming to eat whatever, then the establishment pays that tip or just pay you more money. If you have a party of such and such, then that waiter automatically gets extra in their paycheck.
Thank you. Because the restaurant is housing the people, not
Exactly.
the waitress or waiter.
Yes. Shorty, I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, it's okay because I see people tip people. I see them like I don't go to fast food restaurants like that no more. But when I was doing it, they'll tip them like $5, $10 here,
What?
$1. Yeah,
What
I seen. I
Wait,
was looking
what
at them
fast
like,
food places are you going to where they're tipping
yeah, I was
like
gonna
that?
say, what the hell?
listen, that was Burger King, McDonald's, Wendy's. I seen all of
McDonald's
that. I
don't
be
ask
looking
for
at them.
tips. McDonald's
No,
don't
they
ask for
don't. No, no,
tips,
no, no,
though.
no, no,
Oh,
no, 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 no. They don't ask
You're
for it.
saying
They
that
give it.
people
They
would
was
just give it to
giving
them. Okay.
it just
Okay.
willingly. Yeah, they be like, you
Okay,
accept
so
tips.
I want to know
They be
which
like,
McDonald's
yeah.
you go to, because that means that they some rich people in them neighborhoods. Because I've never in my
Listen,
You know
of
life.
what? You know
course.
what? I will say this. When I was working in entertainment, one time I only saw it one time when I went to lunch to McDonald's. I did see someone give in. It was a McDonald's in Beverly
Inside
Hills.
or through the drive-through?
No, inside. But they were at
Oh,
Inside.
Beverly Hills, and that they gave that
oh well,
cashier like
Beverly.
20 like $20, and I'm like,
Ooh,
you're not getting that from me. I'm coming in
not of me.
to get the dollar
Well,
bill.
Beverly Hills was your key word right there. So you got to live. People
Beverly.
that do that, that's because they don't care about money, and that's toilet paper to them. But I'm telling you, any Jenna, there's no way. And I've never. I can't say I've not seen people tip at McDonald's. I can't remember who it was in the Midwest when I was younger. They did have those jars out there that were for donate. They weren't tipping though. I don't think. I think they were for for like St. Jude, and
Oh yeah,
all that other
I mean,
stuff.
yeah,
Oh
they have
yeah.
those. Yeah, I mean, but
Yeah.
I mean, okay,
I wish I
so
would see a tip jar in Burger
okay,
King.
so then again, I say switching back to my self-service thing, since we're doing the job of these people, should we get tipped like 10% off of our bill because we're doing
Yep,
I wish.
self-service?
I wish.
yep.
Yes, I wish.
Walmart self checkout, baby. Where's my W?
Yep.
Where's my 1099 form? Because I sure work for them if I go to self checkout.
I go to
You know what I'm
self
saying?
checkout all the time. If there
And
ain't no cashier,
GP says in Japanese culture is very disrespectful to tip.
Yeah, there's places that they're like, if you try to tip them, they like look at you like like offended. Like they're just like, what? Over here, I'm gonna tell you a little story. So I'm gonna say 20 years ago because it was about 20 years ago because my son was little. Went to this place in Austin, and it was a catfish parlor type of restaurant, and I went there to eat. It was just me and one other family, me, my son's father at the time. Not at the time, my ex. Anyways, my brain said it right, my mouth didn't. We went inside. It was just us in one other little unit in the thing. There was two girls, waitresses, whatever you want to call them. They were standing over by the fish tank, just babbling, chatting. This is before they had like cell phones that they could sit on, but they were sitting there babbling the whole time. Okay, now I was already back then. I was even worse about the tipping. I mean, I was way meaner then than I am now, and like they were sitting over there, never got a drink. They didn't come to see if the food was good. Like, and I kept putting the soda thing out, kind of clicking it on the end of the table. And I looked at him and I was like, why are they just like sitting there? And then another one came out and there was like a group of three over there. They were just chatting and talking and chatting and talking. And I'm still sitting there. Good fish, by the way. It was great fish. So I'm going to sit there and I'm just like, I'm looking at him. I'm like, are they serious? Like, they haven't come over here not one time. And they've been standing there in eye shot because I can see them out of my peripheral. So I'm like, dude, okay. So comes to the end of the thing. Now I got my little ticket. At the time, I put my cash, and when I tell you that I put the exact dollars and cents on that ticket, put it on the table, and I got up and left. That girl came outside as I'm getting in the car and was like, thank you. When I tell you that I never closed my door so fast and ran right back up in that restaurant. And I was like, you're welcome. Now, what's your problem? I go, what is it? Because I didn't leave a tip. I go, what am I supposed to do? Tip you? And I'm saying this in front of now. There's 2 families. I don't know who else. So I'm supposed to just tip for you to stand over there in the corner and pick your nose by the fish tank while I have 0 drinks and all this other stuff on my table? I was like, I think not. I go, matter of fact, would you like to go get your manager, or can I leave without tipping now?
What
And
did
then
she
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 was
let you go. She let you
no,
go.
she flipped, turned quickly, walked straight back towards the kitchen. You're damn right. I couldn't
Of
even
course.
believe that she came out into the parking lot, all the way to the parking lot, talking about thank you. You didn't even come over there. I didn't even know you were my waitress, and you're lucky I didn't cuss you out in front of you. She was like a teenager, so I wasn't going to do that, but. Like, you're lucky I didn't go off even more than that, boy. She's lucky she went in the restaurant. Had she stayed in the parking lot, I don't even know what would have
That's
happened.
something totally different.
That's not the first time I've gotten into with people over that stuff. And the thing is if I ever leave $0, zero, and I mean all the way to 0, there's a reason. Because
It's a reason.
I'm not cheap like that, but I'm not gonna pay you like you. They expect it. The problem is they don't want $1 or $1.50 or $2 or $3. They want 10, 15, 20, 25. That's what they
But
think a
see,
tip
what
should
else
be.
you? But if that's all you got is $1.25 or 25 cents, you better be lucky you got that.
Exactly. You better be lucky you got $1. You know what I'm saying? Maybe that was
Shoot.
my last dollar. You feel
Thank
me?
you.
Like, that's the thing. Nobody's grateful anymore about shit. And you know why they're frustrated? Not at you, not at the Patreon. They're frustrated because they can't make enough. And guess whose fault that is? The restaurant, not ours. Not ours.
Well,
So
right, and
when
that's
you
that's what I mean. It's like the customer is made to to feel shame and whatever. I mean, because I
Mhm.
have been with people and they're like, "That's all you're giving them for?" Yeah, that's all I'm giving them.
Yes,
You want to give them more? You give them more. That's all I am giving them. And I have been out with people where I have not given them anything because I'm sorry, I do not. I have gotten to the point where I do not believe in tipping. If you're just coming to my table and you're bringing my drink and you're doing your job,
good job.
I don't believe in tipping. If you are going out of your way and I'm asking you all this stuff and can you do this, then I will tip you. But if you're doing your job, I'm sorry, I've just gotten to the point where it has just gotten out of control and across the board. I'm like, I'm not doing it anymore. I'm not.
Tipping is not for your job. Tipping is for exceptional service. And that's how I feel about it. Exceptional to me is going above and beyond.
Yes.
And that and and when people again, they can get mad about it all they want, but you walking back and forth from my table to the kitchen is not above and beyond.
No, it
That
isn't.
is your job. That
It
is
isn't.
what you were supposed to do.
It
But
isn't.
if you come over there and like you have my drink always topped off and I don't ever have to ask, like, to me, that's exceptional because you're paying attention when you got other stuff you're doing and stuff like that. I understand that it's a fast pace. When there's a really super busy and stuff like that, let me tell you something. If I see a server like running their butt off, I'm a tip. Like, if I see
Yes.
a server
Yes.
that's like, like, oh, my tables, hey, I'm running past you now, but I'm gonna be, I'm gonna be back, and they're making an effort, an above effort. I'm a tip them. I'm a tip them good for that.
And I don't see anything wrong with that, but just your average every day. And,
Yeah,
and people can call me, you can say I'm cheap, whatever. And I personally don't think that I'm a cheap person. I think I'm a generous
I
person,
am. I don't give a.
but for certain things, it's like, no. This is your job. And then when you go to Panera Bread and some of these other places, they got the tip jar right by the register. What did you do?
Dairy
I
Queen
mean, I
asks
mean,
for tips.
I mean, even if you're the person
Nothing.
who's getting your donut and you putting it into the bag, isn't that your job? I came in there to get a donut, and you putting it into the bag. Why do I have to tip you?
No, that's your job. And I had to actually ran into one at Dairy Queen. They held the little thingy out there, like kept holding it. And I was like, is there a
Wow.
problem? Oh, well, there's another prompt. And I looked, I said, okay, you can hit no on that. And they had but they were handing me ice cream. You put the ice cream in a
What?
cone, you dipped it in some chocolate, you handed it to me, and you want me to tip you for that? Oh,
I can do that at home. I just didn't feel like
matter of
doing it.
fact, let me come inside Dairy Queen and then you can tip me. All right. Let me
Right.
come in there and make my own cone and then let's talk.
And this is what
Thank
I'm
you.
saying. I don't think you should tip people for doing their job. And that's why I say I'm going back
All
to the
right.
self checkout thing because that just irks me so much. I went to the store about 2 weeks ago and all I bought was spinach. I had 2 bags of spinach. I had put my spinach in there, and the lady kept saying, "Well, you can go here to self checkout." I said, "No." Well, it's short of self checkout. No. Well, you really should go to self check. I looked at it, I said, I'm not going to self checkout. I am standing here for someone to check me out. I could have very well have gone to self checkout. I could have been in and out, but I'm just getting to the point where I'm just so sick and tired of them saying that, we're trying to do this for you, whatever. You got this long ass line of self checkout, only got one cashier. And you got all these people standing around making sure that you don't steal anything. Why don't you go stand and put those people as cashiers, open up more cashiers, and check those people out? It just doesn't make any sense to me. It makes no
They
sense.
make no, they want you to go through this self checkout so they don't have to pay the cashiers. Walmart has 16 to 20 registers at every single store. And I used to work for them, by the way. They don't. But back when I worked for them, now I was 18 at the time, when they had lines, and if it was any more than 3 people at that store, I had a really good general manager too, but if there was any more than 3 people in a line, we were required to come open another register. And if nobody came forward, they would send out a beacon across the store, and they were like, anybody who knows how to work a register, come and get it. Now, it's not been like that for a very long time. They didn't do that back when I was like, this is obviously 25 years ago, but I still feel like it. I feel like they don't open new registers, especially if there's open self checkouts. They won't. They won't because they want people to go do that so they don't have to bother with people. They want less workers in the store. They don't want to pay as many people to be in the store to be able to cover the amount of
Okay,
people
but yet you go to self checkout, and especially now at Walmart and Target, you got like 7 people, 7 workers standing around
watching you.
self checkout
Watching
watching
you,
you. So
talking.
while you watching me, why don't you go watch you
Yep.
go scan and watch
Open
my
up a register.
yes. Yes.
They
Thank
do
you.
get mad too if you won't go to self checkout. I've been harassed too, and
Oh
I
yeah.
was like, lady, I'm not going to self checkout because my job is not a cashier today. I'm off today. And she just looked at me. She's like, well, that's not. I was just saying you can. No, I'm gonna stay right here, and I'm gonna check out, and she's gonna bag my shit. Period. Like, I don't understand. Like, they act like it's not their job to do that. You know what I mean? Like, they're just like, oh, well, you could have gone to sell, like the cashiers huffing and puffing and this and that. But that's your job. That's what you're here to do. Like, I don't
Thank you.
understand.
Okay, so GP says, "What about food orders to go, or DoorDash?" And Gigi says, "I tip on food orders." And Brina says, "That's how it is at Target. There's too many people in the line. They call the cashiers." So for DoorDash, okay, GP, I just have one thing to say about that. I used DoorDash twice, and both times somebody had dipped into my food.
Oh no.
And the first time it happened, I had already paid and they had gone, and I called back and I retracted my entire sale. I did not pay for that entire sale. The second time it happened, I opened up the bag when they came to give it to me. I said, "Hold on," and I opened up the bag and I said, "There's food missing." And the guy's face turns red and stuff. I said, "You can take this back. I'm not paying for this." But I'm not paying for this. And I called and I got my money back. So DoorDash and all those other places. First of all, I don't do that anymore. And secondly, no, I'm not tipping you. No, no. That the tip should no. The tip should come from from the people, because there's just too much stuff. They're
I
eating,
only
your
DoorDash from the
food,
ones that
whatever.
seal the bags. I won't do anything else.
So yeah.
I do tip on DoorDash for gas money, but I don't over tip, meaning that if I didn't have to drive, I'll give them extra few dollars based on my order total because they have to walk up to my door. No problem. But I've had an incident with them before. So if I ever do it again, it has to be sealed bags. I'll never, ever, ever again get an open bag.
Okay. So they have to walk up to your door. So again, I'm just asking y'all, and I'm not trying to sound petty and cheap or anything like this, but even though I probably do sound petty and cheap and everything, but anyway, if I get a job as a Lyft person or Uber or DoorDash or whatever, I know what the job entails. So you have to get out of the car and you have to go up to this door. You know that you may be driving in neighborhoods that you may not want to go into. You know that you may, that if you somebody is ordering here, you may have to drive an extra 5 miles or something. You're going to talk about gas and all that other stuff. You know this. So why am I tipping
If I don't have to drive and they do, I mean, I'm going to give them a tip because I didn't have to get my big ass. Anyways, I almost went off, but I didn't have to go do it. That is the reason I give the tip for gas money. And I don't know, it's weird, not for service because whatever. It's not really hard to service because, they're going to go, they literally drive somewhere, get it and come in. But gas money,
Okay, but shouldn't but at the same time, since you're using your vehicle and things like that, shouldn't the company compensate you? Or if you already know that, or even if you already know that it's a self, what do they call it? It's a contract.
It's 1099.
Right. Okay. Well, then if you know this, then I mean, because I have had 1099 jobs where people who I know in the same job, they're like, the company should give us this and the company should give us this. And I'm like, we knew this when we signed up for it. We knew that this is what it was going to be, so why are you complaining when you knew that this is what it is? Don't rely on somebody else. Don't assume that somebody's going to give you that tip. Don't assume that someone's going to.
Oh no, don't assume it. They shouldn't get mad. I don't care what circumstance, to be real with you. I don't care what the circumstances is. You shouldn't get upset about no tips because that is 100% optional. So nobody should have a right to get upset about it. You shouldn't be called out for it. None of that. I don't agree with any of that stuff. You know what I'm saying? I can tell you that I drove for Uber. I drove my truck, not this one, but my other one that was a very nice vehicle around, and I appreciated the tips. I never got upset when someone didn't tip because, to be real with you, if I thought the ride wasn't worth it, I wouldn't take it.
Well, wait,
all right.
But for Uber, the few times I've taken, the tip was already in the thing. I'm trying to think.
Well, I don't know about that, but when I drove 2 years ago, there was a price for the ride. It showed you on there.
Oh, okay. No. This wasn't for Uber. This was for a car service.
And then afterwards, they could give you it. They basically rate you and give you a tip. Now, I'll be honest, I got a lot of tips, but I also had a very nice Uber. So, and I was I had very accommodating for passengers, and it was very clean and yada, yada, yada. So I got a lot of tips because my Uber was pretty badass. But like, I was never upset if someone couldn't, because how do I know that they just barely couldn't afford that Uber as it was? I'm not going to get mad at somebody that I chose to be a cab. I know that tips are involved. And again, I have the right to refuse any one of those, even though you do get penalized, by the way. That's the problem with when people want to say, oh, well, you could just refuse it if it's no tip. But then you get penalized and they stop sending you orders. They stop sending you stuff.
Okay, so isn't that a company thing, though? So a company should not, they don't know why you're saying that you don't want to do it, whatever. So that's a company thing. The company should not penalize you for refusing a particular job.
I personally think that's dumb. And when I used to refuse them, it was called a refusal rate. The reason they put that on there is because then people they're like, oh well, which is stupid because there's 100 Ubers, right? Who cares if I don't want to take it? There's like 5 more that's gonna go get you. So who cares? But yeah, this company I don't believe should penalize it. But that's why people have to take those orders. But when you took it and you took it because you had to, because you had a low response rate, you can't be mad at the person on the other side. You can't be mad at the recipient. You can't. That is there because everything beyond what you took was all optional. That means they didn't have to give you anything. Maybe they didn't have that. Maybe they wanted a hamburger and didn't have $1 for you. But that's not, you know what I'm saying? Again, it all falls back to you knew what it was when you took it. Do I tip on DoorDash? I'm gonna say yes, as long as it's because I don't really do it that often. But like when I do it, it's because I don't want to go anywhere. So I give them $5. I always give $5 just to understand. I live in a really small town too, so $5 covers gas out here, easy. So like that's the only reason for me. Like just because maybe it's raining and I don't want to go out in the rain, but they had to go in the rain. That's just for me, but it's still optional. It's still optional, and no person should go up to anybody that's knocking on people's doors and sending them messages and going to get the food after they don't tip you because it's after the fact. No. That's and then everybody that agrees with them, they're like, oh, well, you should have tipped, but it was optional. So why are you punishing me for something that's optional? It's optional. That do you not understand the definition of that? I don't care what you think. It's still optional. So I don't know.
Okay. All right. Shorty, are you still there?
I'm still here. I'm just listening.
You have any? I'm about to wind it up. You have any last words of wisdom you want to impart?
Choose if you want to tip. Don't let them force you to tip. If you want to choose $1.25 or 75 cents or even a penny, they should be happy.
Okay. And Mayor
you
Crazy,
didn't cover that part solid. About what if you leave an upside down penny or 5 pennies or like I used to hear all these crazy stories about people and tipping and leaving $1 under upside down cups and all this other stuff. What about that stuff? What about people that do that? Are you still upset? I mean, they did leave a tip. They might have left you a mess.
If that's what they leave, then that's what they leave.
Money,
it is still money. I mean, I'm one of those people that if I see a penny laying on the sidewalk, I'm picking it up. So
that used to be the thing. You're supposed to. That was supposedly for luck or whatever.
I mean, but I'm just saying. I mean, no matter how they give it to you, if they want to, if they're that petty person and leaves you $10 in pennies, guess what? It still spends.
It goes to the bank and it still contains $10, regardless.
So
I know.
So I mean, I just think that tipping culture has gotten out of control, and this has gotten to the point for me where I don't want to tip anybody because every time you turn around, there's a tip jar, or it's configured into your price. If you come in with so many people, they automatically go, no.
Yeah, that'll be the last time I go there too.
Because I mean, it just doesn't make any sense to me. And plus, so the gratuity that you're automatically adding to my party of 12, I can get shitty service from the very start. So you still gonna take this money and this person's gave me shitty service?
No, thank you.
I think it should be outlawed, and then that way nobody can say it should be outlawed, just like it is other places. Don't even tip. Either the companies pay their people living wages, or when you're a 1099 worker, you take double the jobs because of whatever reason. I do. What people don't understand is how much you're getting. $7 for a Uber trip. Uber is getting much more than that. They are.
They are.
For an app. They're not doing anything but letting you sign into an app with that's it. And they're taking the majority. But anyways, I digress. My final thought is if it's optional, it's optional. And nobody should be called out for that stuff. I don't believe that and anybody else that calls them, if someone does that, then they should have to pay the tips. I'm gonna let the people pay the tips that cry about it, that cry about tipping being something that they want to see across the board. Fine. Then every time I get to a place, I'm gonna call you and I'm gonna tell you their Cash App and you can tip them.
Well, there you go. So my outro song today, hey son, welcome. My outro song today is called this is a country song. It's called Tip Your Waitress. And it's sung by a woman by the name of Bobby McGee, but she's not the one that wrote it. But I heard this song years and years ago, and I was looking for it. So Tip Your Waitress. Here you go. Wait, hold on. I want to do one thing, though. Let's see if I can do this. It's going to let me. There we go. Okay. Tip Your Waitress. And I'm cutting and pasting the lyrics because the lyrics are kind of interesting.
Tables, 4 chairs at each one. 2 shows every night, she's on the run. 3 coffees here, 5 desserts there, let's go. Then some jerk over there says she's too slow. Please tip your waitress, she's working hard for you. She'll walk a few miles more before she's through. She's got bills to pay and food to buy like you. Please tip your waitress, cause she's working hard for you. Well, it's honey this and dear that all the time. That's not half as bad as all them lines. One of these days, her temper's gonna perk. If one more guy asks when she gets off work. Please tip your waitress, she's working hard for you. She'll walk a few miles more before she's through. She's got bills to pay and food to buy like you. Please tip your waitress, cause she's working hard for you. Paycheck's low, she does the work of 2. When something's wrong, folks blame you know who. Then they'll say, hey darling, where's your smile? And the owner's getting richer all the while. Please tip your waitress, she's working hard for you. She'll walk a few miles more before she's through. She's got bills to pay and food to buy like you. Please tip your waitress, cause she's working hard for you. Please tip your waitress, she's working hard for you. Please tip your waitress, cause she's working hard for you.
And there you go. what Crazy said. Oh Lord. Anyway, I thought I end with that. I wanted to put the lyrics in there so y'all could see why she's saying, tip your waitress. But anyway, thank you guys for coming. Shorty and Crazy, thanks for joining me on the panel. Everyone else, thank you for staying and commenting. I appreciate it. And I hope to see you guys tomorrow. Bye.